Shall I look at you?
I think look at the camera more.
Okay. I am Peter Marcus. I teach in the Edmond Public Schools. Most of my day is at Edmond North High School, where I teach string orchestra and music theory. And then I also assist with 8th grade orchestra at Sequoia Middle School and Cheyenne Middle School. And that's proven very positive to get to know the 8th grade students and really encourage them in an attempt to retain them as they go on to high school and stick with us in our orchestra program. One word that best describes how I teach.
Peter, come on, you gotta tell
them more about what I do.
Tell them also what you're doing specifically right now.
Oh, and right now, the reason I have the day off, I'm the 2014 Oklahoma Teacher of the Year. And today I sent off my national portfolio, so maybe I'll get to be the 2015 National Teacher of the Year. Who knows? One interesting thing about being the Oklahoma Teacher of the Year is that I leave the classroom for a year. It's looking like I'll be in there about one day a month. And that's a tough thing to justify, taking a great teacher and then taking them out of the classroom. But to me, what makes sense about it is that I will be able to advocate for my colleagues and for education to the state of Oklahoma. To my fellow educators, I can convey what I consider a lot of my positive ideas about the teacher as the leader. And to our community and our civic leaders, I can convey to them what is incredibly good about education in our region. One word that best describes how I teach. If I had to pick one word, I can't answer the question, but I would say it's intense, but we have fun, and I call it work fun, not recess fun. Or we have music fun, not recess fun. It really is a lot of moments of very hard work that the students are physically playing their instrument 85% of a class period. And but it's enjoyable to them, it's enjoyable to me. And at the end of the day, I'm absolutely exhausted. So I think I'm doing a lot of right things in the level of energy that they deserve. How do I relate to my students? The relationship to the student is the single greatest factor that will impact their learning. If there isn't a relationship between the student and teacher, there isn't an immediate catalyst for the student to want to learn from the teacher, to pay attention to him or her. And so the relationship, or how I relate to them, is a real focus of my teaching. And I'll admit it's only become a recent focus of my teaching. In that regard, I never want to discourage a teacher from being very knowledgeable about their subject matter, and as important or more important, knowing how to unlock that subject matter for a student. But when it comes down to the end of the day, the quadratic formula won't matter. Knowing that Bach died in 1750 won't matter. What's going to matter is that the student is still engaged with you, still trusts you, the teacher, and wants to join you again the next day to learn more from you, to get a deeper understanding. So I really start with the relationship in mind. At the end of it all, at the end of the year, the student is not going to remember everything I taught him. What the student is going to remember is that I was kind. And 10 years from now, they're going to remember that we had a good relationship. What resources can I not teach without? I'll be honest, I'm still getting used to embracing technology. I don't consider myself an old veteran teacher. I don't consider myself a new teacher. I'm somewhere in between. And my biggest challenge with technology is that there's so many really good things out there, trying to decide what is going to be most impactful and worth my time to learn how to use and implement in my teaching. I cannot live without my violin. I think showing the students what I mean, and sometimes that means I borrow their violin, but showing a student is on a string instrument what we're trying to accomplish in our class. It's just an immediate picture for them to understand, and I can't teach without it. I'm pretty sure I can't teach without it. So how is my classroom organized? What are my best time-saving tricks, and what daily activity are you better at than anyone else? I want to put all of those together to say this: be organized and be patient. The former often begets the latter. I'm so proud of that quote because I came up with it. But I have found one of my great skills is organization. I can very quickly help myself. I can very quickly help another student. And if a classroom is organized, and I don't mean tidy and neat, I just mean that if somebody walks in, they know what they can expect. If the student walks in, she knows that every day is going to be organized. Every day is going to be not formulaic. It's one less thing that she has to think about. One more bit of energy she can focus on the lesson. So I believe organization is key. How is my room organized? Very much. What are you currently reading? I just became the Oklahoma State Teacher of the Year about 6 weeks ago, and in the past month, I have already met some of the real leaders in education in Oklahoma. And one question I ask them is, what are you reading? And I try to make it a point to ask every one of them, what are you reading? And fortunately or unfortunately, every one of them shows me about 4 books that I have to add to my list. And I say have to, because I feel compelled to read many of these things. Right now I'm reading The Smartest Kids in the World and How They Got That Way. Really intriguing book that sends 3 American students to study, one in Finland, one in Poland, and one in South Korea. 3 countries that are becoming, I think, recently touted for their high education results. So I'm early in the book, but it's very fascinating. And my hope is in reading these many books, I can just get a better picture of education, not music education, but just education worldwide. What's the best advice you've ever received? I don't know if this is the best advice, but I think it's very positive advice to say to my fellow teachers: become or maintain your professional activity. I think it's very important as a teacher to be professionally active. This is in many fronts. I think an obvious front is that if you're professionally active, you're getting a lot of professional development that you can immediately better yourself and better your classroom. You're getting many new ideas to help your student learn. It might be as simple as just maintaining a professional membership, and for which you receive a journal that is the cutting edge, the new things in your field that you can share with your classroom. Maybe not immediately, but at some point, digest it down and make it a part of your teaching. And then the other aspect of professional activity is I think, and it's at the heart of my familial beliefs and just my personal belief, and that's the idea of servant leadership. I think in our professional organizations, and we all have one, we have a professional math organization, professional music educators. If you are active in that organization, you can become the leader. You, the servant leader, you are serving, you aren't being paid to do these things, but you can become the leader who makes positive change, not only for your students, but for a great good. The best advice I've ever received? I don't know. I think love your wife is maybe the best advice anybody would ever give or receive. Love your family, and remember that when everything is over, that's what you still have. 1 year from now, I won't be the teacher of the year anymore, but I'll still be dad, I'll still be husband. When I retire 80 years from now, I'll still be dad and I'll still be husband. And I'll still be brother and I'll still be son.
Anyone in particular you'd love to meet for coffee now that you're in this position? Alive or dead?
You know, the love to meet and talk with them. This year as the Oklahoma Teacher of the Year, I get to meet the president. And I had a dream about this, that I'm going to ask Secret Service if I can hug him. And then I'm going to give him a hug and thank him for the work he does. And I'll be honest, I don't care who that president is. And I've had some favorites and I've had some not favorites. I support Barack Obama, I'll say that publicly. I know many people don't, and that's okay too. But just to thank him, because I think it's the hardest job, maybe in the world, to be a president of the United States. So I actually can say I'd love to meet Barack Obama. I don't know that I'll get to hug him. I don't know that we'll get to have coffee. But I really would love to meet every president, just to be in the presence of that mind, because they've done something correct to convince a lot of people that they can do positive good. And that's a pretty powerful thing. That's an inspiration to me.
If anybody needs a hug, it's
I
the
know,
president.
Absolutely.
No matter what,
The president needs a hug. A big old bear hug. Just a squeeze. Yeah, he deserves it.
Do you have your violin with you?
I don't have my violin with me. No, this is twice this week somebody's asked me.
Here, I got it.
Yeah.
Real quick.
I need to bring it up to the State Department. Yeah.
You good with that?
Absolutely, man.
Sign off, say bye, or tell them how to get hold of you, or whatever. I don't know.
Certainly, I would love to talk with anybody who wants to talk shop even more. Again, I'm Peter Marcus. I'm on Twitter, and then certainly give me a shout at the State Department of Education. I get to spend a lot of time here, and it's a fascinating group of people.